his administration. If you stay to watch the video, please tag him down below, share, and repost so we can try to get this to him as quickly as possible and hope that he can do something with this. President Trump, as a supporter who voted for you 3 times, I am hoping and praying that you will revisit what Barack Obama and Joe Biden got rid of back in 2013, which is the Smith-Mundt Act, which held news corporations accountable for lying to the American people and spreading propaganda instead of truth. I think instead of bringing it back as a Smith-Mundt Act, you name it the Charlie Kirk Act, you make it a law, and you make it damn near impossible for these people to continue to lie to the American public, which has brought chaos, hatred, division, and anarchy all across this country. Fines out the ass, which will damn near bankrupt their companies should they lie to the American people ever again. They can have their opinions, that's fine. They need to state that it is their opinion and that it is not a fact. Because of their constant lies, a man lost his life over it. Because of the constant hateful rhetoric of calling him a fascist and a Nazi and a white supremacist and a bigot, the same thing that they called you, this man is dead. I think this would be a great legacy for him to have a law named after him to force journalists to finally start telling the truth and having the integrity that they have lacked for over a decade. I hope that this gets to you. I hope that you think about it and that you pass it into law. Because we are on a dangerous path right now with the constant lies and the propaganda, and that doesn't end just at news journalists. It needs to go to content creators who consistently spread lies and propaganda and half-truths across the internet. This needs to end, and people need to start being held accountable for baseless claims over absolute abysmal things. It needs to end. So please, if you have it in your heart to have the time to do this, get this in front of Congress, get this passed as a law, and start holding these news corporations, be they right, left, or center, accountable for their behavior.
2013, it was legalized in the United States to propagandize its citizens. What? Like, that's some scary third world stuff going on. That's the kind of stuff that people use to topple governments, to take away freedoms.
Yes, you heard that right. Almost a decade ago, propaganda was legalized in the United States with the passage of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which you've probably never heard of. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was buried in the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act for a good reason, because it repealed the 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which authorized the State Department and the mainstream media to engage in propagandizing foreign countries, but it prohibited releasing that same propaganda in America for public consumption. This prohibition was lifted when the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was signed into law by Obama.
Very simply, Obama gave it a reboot in 2012. So, no matter how outrageous the propaganda may be, it's completely legal.
Propaganda, in other words, a false narrative for whatever specific purpose, is now much, much easier to perpetrate on the people.
Due to the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which went into effect on July the 2nd of 2013, scripted and orchestrated propaganda can now be presented to the American public as factual news.
Now, we all know this. You know how they tried to shut us up when it came to the Hunter Biden files, the laptop. They shut us down, censored us all over the internet, and said that we were the ones lying and we were the ones trying to spread propaganda, that we were the ones spreading fake news. So they used that to hide away from the voters. They didn't want social media content creators to present that information. And they also didn't want mainstream media to present it. They actually wanted mainstream media to call it a lie. And anything that came out of the mouths of whoever was anything that came out of the mouths of anyone who was against the machine, which was the conservatives at the time, they were saying that we were the ones lying and that our accounts deserved to be shut down. So they got to say whatever they wanted to say, as long as it was serving President Barack Obama then's agenda. So in 2017, I don't know how in the world Trump was able to beat that. You guys did it. You guys did it. Well, actually, he wasn't, because he ended up losing to Joe Biden in 2020 because they was able to put together their propaganda machine. and they were able to lie 1000% on Trump and build up cases on him, saying whatever they wanted to say. This right here is extremely negative for anybody who is objectively trying to learn the facts. They want to listen to the professionals who are trained journalists who go to school for these things and who's supposed to operate with integrity. But later to find out that these mainstream media platforms are privately owned and they are meant to push the propaganda of these billionaires and of the left, because that's who's in their pocket. Now we're back because you guys were able to make so much noise that Trump was able to be elected again. I don't know how in the world that happened. I think big part is because of Charlie Kirk. Depending on how you look at it, some people say that no, it's because of the movement that Donald J. Trump started himself. It's because people started to wake up. Nah, I think Charlie Kirk started to ignite these young people by simply communicating with them, letting them see for themselves that they were on the wrong path. And then when they started to see for themselves, they started to make a decision. You know how Thomas Sowell once said that if you're that the old adage was, when you're old, you're conservative. When you're old and if you're not conservative, you have no brain. When you're young and you're not liberal, you have no heart. Well, the young people of today, they have both brains and heart. So they decided to vote their interests, their lifelines interests, the future of our nation. They voted for that as well, and that's why they came out in droves and voted for President Trump. And hold on one second. And that's the only reason why he was elected in 2024. I believe that the horrible administration, the Biden administration, helped with that, because had he not dropped the ball so many times and done ridiculous things like with the border and whatnot, and just blatantly lie in our faces, which they did. Like, they can't close the border without the border bill being signed. And Trump was smart enough to reach out to the people that he knew and tell them to look a little deeper inside that bill, because $56 billion is dedicated to Ukraine. $12 billion is dedicated to the border. And if they wanted to close the border already, they would have. But they kept lying and saying they couldn't. Fast forward to 2024 when Trump was elected. Immediately, his first job, he closed the border and sent everybody packing. As a matter of fact, it was people who was just self-deporting. It was droves of people who were headed here to sneak over the border, and they found out that Trump was elected and they turned their tails around. That's how it was. Country started to play ball, and now we're on the right track. I'm in agreement with this young lady. Although I believe in the freedom of speech, I believe that these newscasters and mainstream media platforms should be able to go onto to their platforms and report whatever they want. I just want it to be integral. Can it be the truth? If it is an opinion, just say it. That way you give your people who are your audience, you give your audience an opportunity to go and research for themselves, because you've already planted in their mind that my professional opinion is this, but this is not fact. And then everyone that watch, if they're smart, they will go and do their own research and find out facts and not opinions. But I agree with this. There should be a Charlie Kirk Act. You guys let me know whatever y'all want me to know in the comments. And thank you again for joining. See you next time. We have been helping people grow online. It has been absolutely amazing. We have helped many content creators get from zero to monetization in under 30 days. We even have a couple of these superstars who did it in 1 or 2 weeks. If you want to learn how to do YouTube, I don't care your age, I don't care what skills or talents you have. Trust me, I can help you do it effortlessly. Just reach out to me with the word coach and we can get it done. One more thing. We have a YouTube course that I just now created. I'm extremely proud of, and a lot of people are getting so much from. Purchase that course and work with us. You can join our private Facebook group and our daily group calls, which is 3 to 5 days per week, and you can learn so much more than you've ever learned before. I can't wait to hear from you. Love you. Peace.